the tactic that the government uses, besides using false informants and tricking people and entrapping them, they also bring up all kinds of bogus charges, hoping that you'll plead to one other charge. So they give you, a whole slew of charges, say, well, we'll take away some of these bogus charges, but you plead guilty to this. And most people will take that deal. And we've talked to individuals. We talked to the New Jersey weed man who had to represent himself because most lawyers will not argue for jury nullification, even though it is in most state constitutions, even though it is a principle that our country was founded upon, a principle that was even established back in English common law. Those types of things, we're going to have to take that back at the local level. It's going to be sheriffs. It's going to be informed juries. It's going to take some hard groundwork at the grassroots level. We're not going to be able to elect a savior that's going to take care of this. He's going to have too many things on his plate. But what he can do is he can take care of things where we are losing our sovereignty at the national and international level. Stay with us. Rob Dew is going to be right back with this person who was persecuted in Venezuela.
Welcome to the fourth hour of Overdrive. This is Rob Dew reporting for Infowars.com. I'm the news director at PrisonPlanet.tv, and it's always my pleasure to bring you the latest news and analysis here in the fourth hour. And hats off to David Knight for taking over, sitting in for Alex Jones, who's getting a well-deserved vacation, even though he still is... I guess there's just too much news for him to stay silent. He's still filing reports. He was talking to me earlier. We had videos that were throwing around, putting stuff up. It's wild and crazy here at the InfoWars Central Texas Command Center. I want to go over a couple articles here, just some basic stuff that's going on on InfoWars, and also talk about a guest I have coming up. Back on June 9th, we posted an article called "This Video Will Get Donald Trump Elected If It Goes Viral." That was produced by one John Aquaviva, who is a Venezuelan who now lives in England. And he produced this video. It's got 1.5 million views right now. And it's just basically, clips of Donald Trump talking on the Ronna Barrett show, Oprah Winfrey at the GOP convention, C-SPAN, CNN interview, Larry King Live, Steve Forbes, just all these events in the past leading up to where he is now and kind of laying the groundwork. I mean, maybe Donald knew he was going to run for president back in the 80s and just didn't want to tell anybody. It was probably smart because then I guess he would have automatically been a racist back then, because that's what happens, I guess, when you run for office and you have Democratic Party operatives. Of course, that was the party that started the KKK. And also, you have Hillary Clinton, who was a known friend to Senator Robert Byrd, who was a grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan back in West Virginia. And Bill Clinton also praised him at his funeral. But that's okay because they're liberal Democrats and they love you. They really do. They care about you. That's why they lie to you consistently, tell you that you're going to get something for free when you're not. And also, here's an article that Darren McBreen passed over to me from the New York Times. Goodbye password. Banks opt to scan fingers and faces instead. This is something Alex Jones told you about 15 years ago, that this was going to come. They're going to go to this biometric technology. In fact, he showed it back in his first film. What is his first film called? I want to say Police State 2000. America Destroyed by Design. America Destroyed by Design. He travels the country. He ends the whole video by getting arrested, going to get his driver's license renewed when they want him to thumb scan. And he says, look, this is part of a whole new biometric system where first it's the thumb, then they're going to want to take your blood, then they'll want to get an iris scan. It's all happening. To buy and sell, to get a job, here it is. Some of the nation's largest banks acknowledging that traditional passwords are either too cumbersome or no longer secure are increasingly using fingerprints, facial scans, and other types of biometrics to safeguard accounts. So it's coming. Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, and Wells Fargo routinely use fingerprints along their bank accounts through their mobile phones. So it's coming. Get ready. It's something we warned you about. And pretty soon we won't be able to drive our cars. We won't be able to do anything, and robots are going to take care of us, and we're going to live like those fat people in WALL-E, riding around sipping our giant, ultra, mega huge, big-ass fries and big gulps. Well, let's look at these two articles. That was InfoWars coffee, by the way. It's really good. You ought to check it out, InfoWarsStore.com. Really wakes you up and gets you pumped. All right, here's an article from Kit Daniels. Trump, Hillary takes millions from anti-gay, anti-women regimes, wants Sharia migrants. And this is based off the Trump speech that is all over the internet, taking the nation by storm, and the Democrats are trying to figure out how they stop somebody who's actually telling the truth. I only want to admit people who share our values and love our people. But Hillary Clinton wants to bring in people who believe that women should be enslaved and gays should be put to death, he said in a speech in New York on Wednesday. Maybe her motivation lies among the 1,000 foreign donations Hillary failed to disclose while at the State Department. Oh, don't want to talk about that, do you, Clinton? She accepted $58,000 in jewelry from the government of Brunei when she was Secretary of State, plus millions more for her foundation. The Sultan of Brunei has pushed oppressive Sharia law, including the punishment of death by stoning for being gay. The government of Brunei also stands to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of Hillary's Trans-Pacific Partnership, which she absolutely would approve if given the chance. And there's more in there. You can read it all at Infowars.com. It's by Kit Daniels. And here's an article we have posted, but it's from Information Liberation. Watch as Calais migrants riot chant, F the UK, demand access to Britain. So F it, we hate it, but we want to get in there because we like what you've done. We like what Western freedom has brought and the prosperity has brought. Now we just want to take it over, and we think you owe us. Families reported being stuck in the chaos all day as gangs of migrants attacked the causeway in waves, hurling rocks and other projectiles at cars and breaking into lorries. In case you don't know what a lorry is, it's a big truck that they like to, and there's plenty of videos of that. So Breitbart has some of the tweets there from people. I guess they're tweets or people have been posting in. Yeah, it is from tweets. Been stuck in Calais for 12 hours. I've watched migrants throw bricks at cars, drive into water by ferries, and run into Le Shuttle. Chaos, tweeted a British journalist. I can assure you what is being reported as a power outage is actually violence and chaos from migrants fighting here. There's another still stuck in Calais after day and night with migrants fighting with police, tear gas being used, and a 5-mile-long queue. Chaotic. So it's all happening. Meanwhile, you got Hillary Clinton running around telling people Trump is going to ruin the economy if he gets elected. I actually have Trump's the Tax Policy Center analyzed his tax plan, and they said it would significantly reduce marginal tax rates on individuals and businesses and increase standard deduction amounts nearly 4 times to the current level and may curtail many tax expenditures, and it would cut incomes at all levels. They do say the largest benefits will go to those making the highest amounts, but it would increase federal tax revenues by $9.5 trillion in its first decade. But he would have to actually have considerable spending cuts in order to counteract those tax increases. Or it will put more people to work and more businesses would hire more people and you would have more taxes to go from because more people would be employed. Currently, we have something like 20 to 30, even to 50 million people not being employed right now or underemployed under this current awesome Obama economy that has failed to grow by 3%, and the only president to ever do that. But that's okay. I'm just a conspiracy theorist. Hey, guys, did we find the Kit Daniels video? I want to go to that if possible in this break, but we might not have time. All righty. So I guess we might go to that later. I do want to play John Bound's video, which we're going to play in the next segment. And it is the Clintons, the real racists. I just kind of went over a smattering of how she's a bit racist. She's also said some interesting things while she was in the White House, which are being reported by a former Secret Service agent. So when we come back in that next short segment, we're going to play that, and we're going to have our interview with John Acquaviva, and he's going to be able to comment on what's going on in Venezuela, which will soon be coming here. First, it's going to hit Europe, and it's going to hit here. How basically their socialist utopia is just burning down in flames because, you know, they weren't able to account for the price of oil, and they can't steal any more people's property anymore because they've stolen all, and they don't know how to run it because governments don't know how to run much of anything except run countries into the ground. So we'll talk about that. He's in Britain right now, so we'll probably talk a little bit about Brexit and why he supports Donald Trump and why he isn't afraid of somebody who's been a businessman and who's failed at businesses. He's had businesses that have gone bankrupt, and, you know, he's brought himself back. He's now richer than ever by not stopping and crying on his sleeve or asking for the government to help him out. So here it is from a couple days ago. This was on Fox News. Hillary Clinton's amazing, almost comical economic speech. And she starts off by stating the patently obvious. People are working harder and longer just to keep their heads above water and to deal with costs, the everyday costs, the costs of like basic child care, prescription drugs that are too high. Well, that's because you're Obamacare. College is getting more expensive. Well, that's because you've basically subsidized college for everybody. And wages are still low and inequality is too great. Good jobs in this country are still too hard to come by. And then she lectures us about fiscal responsibility. And even though the Obama administration has doubled the national debt to $19 trillion, he's doubled it in 8 years. So that's not too hard. It's hard for somebody to sit there and talk about being fiscally responsible when she's been part of that by being Secretary of State. And, of course, she talks about class warfare, which is something she loves and loves to propagate. People don't understand this. The reason you're poor, this world offers you plenty of advantages to get out. This world offers you plenty of opportunities, okay? If you don't have internet, you can go to the library and get internet. You can educate yourself by learning how to read. The world is at your fingertips. And if you are not able to rise to the level you want to be at, you really only have one person to blame. You could blame your parents, but then that's passing the buck. You only could look in the mirror and blame yourself. Point that finger right at yourself in the mirror and say, I got to do better. Okay, nobody gave me this job here at InfoWars. I had to earn it, and I rose through the ranks from coming here. When I started working, I was making, I think, $15 or $16 an hour when I started. And I rose up through by showing I could be dependable, by showing I showed up on time, by showing I could be flexible in how things are, by showing I could be conscious. All these things help you. And I'm speaking to the young people out there that are crying in their beers right now that they can't get a real job because they've got 2 or 3 college degrees. You only have yourself to blame, okay? And it's not your fault entirely. You believed in the system. You believed in what these talking heads on TV have told you. The people who are, the people who are more successful are the guys that went out and just decided to be a plumber or decided to get a landscaping company and work really hard. I did all that too. I worked on a farm for a year. I built houses for a summer. I learned about how to do things with my hands, because when you learn how to do things with your hands, then nobody can take those skills away from you. And then you can realize, and you're empowered to realize that you can do anything you want and nobody can stop you. But don't let the globalists tell you that, because they won't. They will stop you any chance they get because they want you to be a slave and they want to take your energy. We'll be right back with more. Coming up with a video about how the Clintons are the real racists out there, and it's not Donald Trump. Oh, tell your liberal friends to tune in. Infowars.com/show. We'll be right back with the 4th hour. This is Rob Dew reporting. If you go to my Twitter account, @DewsNews, I just posted a tweet that I was going live on Infowars.com/show, where incidentally you can watch the free stream. So if you're listening to this, you can actually watch the video we're about to play, which is how the Clintons are the real racist. But one of the people that replied, Benjamin, at #VoteLeave, put a couple, or the one right before it, T. Murphy, put a couple videos up there about Brexit. So I didn't get a chance to watch them, but I looked at the titles. They look pretty good. One of which, I think David Cameron was telling people, be fearful if you vote leave, and let fear be your guide. Fear should never be your guide. It should always be love. Just remember that. And one person we do love around here, we love to hate, is Hillary Clinton. And we have the Hillary for Prison T-shirt, which they Slate wrote about in I guess it came out today, talking about how they couldn't believe people were wearing these Hillary for Prison T-shirts, and how could people want the lady running for president to be put in prison, and that she deserved it. Well, she does deserve it. Her crimes are legion, and we should at least put her on trial. Right now, they're 50% off for one, and you can get the next for 75% off. Can you believe that? 50% and 75%? It's 125% off for two. There you go. Buy one for yourself, get a second, 75% off. Get one for a friend, family, or coworker. Let everybody you know that Hillary Clinton deserves to be in prison. This is a meme that we've been working on for a long time, and it's finally gaining steam. It was going viral back in May, and it kind of went down. Now it's back up again because it's now Hillary versus Trump. And without further ado, let's go to John Bound's report on the Clintons, the real racists.
Why would you support a racist?
Show me one thing he said about African Americans.
He send you back to Africa. That's what he said.
What did he say?
He said send Mexicans back to Mexico. You are a disgrace to America.
Thank you.
For being a young black man supporting a racist.
Thank you.
Donald Trump, what's it say?
I think he's a racist.
Come on, tell us why you think Trump's a racist.
We want to
talk about the details, man.
Yeah.
What about the facts? How come you guys can only say he's a racist, but y'all can't talk about the facts? Why is that?
His opponents say that this is more proof that he's racist. And, you know, people say, is this racism? Because it sounds to me like you want to bring back the one-drop rule.
Yeah.
Criminals.